Allow me just to say a few words about SageTech and why the need for traceability and how we started this journey with GS1. So SageTech Medical was set up in 2015, 2016 to address the environmental problem that was the result of the atmospheric release of volatile anaesthetic gases that are used in both human and animal healthcare. This was probably a bit of an unknown problem outside of anaesthesia, but I think since then it's entered more of the mainstream in terms of the opportunity to control carbon emissions from healthcare in general. So just a few stats there for you. So globally, around 4 million tons of carbon dioxide equivalents are released from and are derived from anaesthetic gas being released into the environment. Of that that is released, only about 95% is ever metabolized and used within the bodies of either animal or human patients. And in veterinary healthcare, it's even more stark, which around 20% of the anaesthetic footprint of a typical veterinary practice is derived from anaesthetic waste. So they're a perfect opportunity for recycling to prevent environmental damage, but also preservation of resources. So, okay, so what we set about devising was basically a circular economy solution to this problem, where we capture anaesthetic gases at the point of emission in the operating theatre in both human and animal settings. We then recover that, we bind that up onto a filter essentially. We then recover that in regional centres. That then goes to a purification centre where the drugs are separated and purified such that they can be reused and reintroduced to the medical supply chain. Next slide. So just an illustration of how the operating model works in the human healthcare in the UK. So we've got our hospital there on the left with our patient and our illustrated capture canisters. Once they're full, they're then transported to a local extraction hub with empty canisters then being returned to the hospital for reuse. From the extraction hub, the bulked up material is then taken to a processing facility, which in the UK is in Devon, and then those bulk vessels are then returned to the extraction hub to receive more material ready for processing. So it's a truly circular model. A little bit about our journey since inception. As I mentioned, 2015, when the company was incorporated, first employee in January 2016, which was actually me. So I'm very proud to say I've been with the company throughout its whole journey. We've gone through proof of concept, patents, demonstrations of purification, testing in UK hospitals, and now we're on more of the regulatory journey with ISO compliance, UKCA, CE for our medical device, but also now, most recently, our CA mark for our veterinary device too, which is being actively deployed. Next slide. So this is what the technology is based on in the veterinary sector. You see a device there on the left with a single capture canister. The device we term a vet dock, and the canister we call a vet can. Similarly, in the human world, we have it's a larger device. It's more complex. It's a bit more intelligent. There's a bit more interaction with clinicians, and it meets the needs of the requirement to control volatile anaesthetic gases in a safe way. So GTINs that we use are all around for traceability. We're required to give our customers site-specific waste capture data. The fact that it's a waste material that requires full grading to grade traceability, and the waste that SageTech collect and this is an important point, becomes the raw material for a new pharmaceutical. So we have to have traceability for that raw material to make it acceptable for human use. So homing in a bit on the canisters. So each canister has a GS1 GTIN as its unique device identifier. This makes it globally traceable because we're rolling out our technology currently in the UK, but very soon, within a matter of months, also into the European Union. And we've also got strong links into other markets around the world, which is very exciting, actually. The GTIN and the serial number together are captured in the 2D data matrix barcode, so that it can be scanned and identified across the whole of the supply chain. And there's also the human readable element, which is particularly useful in small settings. And the 2D data matrix is incorporated within the labeling that is a regulatory requirement on the canisters themselves. So a bit about the waste pathway. So the canisters, as you can imagine, pass through several hands on the logistics pathway. The waste carbon that contains the adsorbed volatile anaesthetic is bulked up at in-country carbon exchange units, and they're bulked up from the canisters that you see on the left into cubic meter IBC type storage vessels that you see on the right, which are transported around to regional waste processing facilities. This method of transport and the traceability that we're able to perform with the help of the GTIN enable us to meet regulatory requirements in the UK, but also across the EU for cross-border shipments. So in summary, I guess the GTIN for traceability meets the 4 pillars of the regulatory environment. So the European medical device regulations, which ensures that we must have traceability of the devices, which we can do that through the GTIN. As I've mentioned, the hazardous waste regulations require full traceability and accountability from the waste producer's site, which would be the hospital, right the way through to a waste processing facility. And again, the GTIN enables us to meet that requirement. New regulations in the European Union around F-gas release means that waste producers must account for how they deal with their fluorinated greenhouse gas emissions, which now include volatile anesthetic gases. So we have to be able to report to customers in the European Union how we are capturing and controlling their F-gas regulations in a regulatory compliant way. Here in the UK, the NHS has its Net Zero strategy. We have to demonstrate that we can provide that information for their board reporting, and to ensure that we help them meet the Net Zero strategy as laid out in the recent plan. We also use the GTINs for traceability around life cycle maintenance. The SID dock has a serviceable life of 10 years. The reusable SID cans we expect to be in excess of 5 years, and we're building that data currently. And obviously, we're able to do that because of the unique code that we use through the GTIN system. We can track it exactly where it's been through the intelligence of the SID dock. Particularly, we're able to tell how much use it's had, which gives us more information around lifespan for our customers. And obviously, we can use the GTIN to provide that all-important reporting for commercial, but also for regulatory obligations. The the compliance of the barcode itself, we worked directly with GS1 to ensure that the device barcodes met the regulatory compliant. Well, they were regulatory compliant, and we worked with them, understand the different options that were available to us, how the data could be captured and interpreted, and then how the human readable text would be displayed. We used the verification service for several editions of the barcode submitted for review, and that we got important feedback so that we could ensure that the final system that we put in place met our needs, but also the ISO quality standards, and ensure that it was suitable for global traceability. And that sums up the SageTech story with GS1 and GTIN. So thank you very much.